What is possible? This is Aspectrum here, and welcome back to the episode of room number 9. So before we get started, I just want to give you guys a heads up, of course, that I was planning the live stream this afternoon, but I don't think it's going to happen. Maybe tonight, but definitely tomorrow now. I'm recording this on a Sunday afternoon, so I'm just letting you guys know ahead of time that I'll probably stream tomorrow most likely, but I could also stream tonight. I'm just not sure. But if you guys want to know and be up to date when I do live stream, I would highly recommend checking my Twitter down below and follow me on Twitter. Or you can also subscribe to me on Twitch and also click that notification button and follow if you want to as well. Just some suggestions so you guys can keep up to date on what I'm doing, as there's really no set schedule at the moment. I'm just trying to get things going and kind of get the ball rolling before I start like trying to make another schedule, if you will. Anyways, though, I'm really excited that you guys are, sorry, I was like, why is this not pulling up? I'm really happy that you guys are like wanting to see more of this series, because I've been looking forward to this series for a while now, and I mean, it is from the same creators, No Thank You, which I did really like. Like I said, the one thing I really didn't like about No Thank You was the No Thank You mechanic, which I'm wondering here if there is going to be like a similar mechanic of some sort. And other than that, again, like I said, there's probably going to be a lot of scenes on here that that's going to be considered way too graphic for YouTube. So again, check out the Patreon link in the description box down below so you guys get free access to that. Well, I say free access, but get full access to the whole all the content, including the uncensored content, which will probably most likely come from this game for $1 a month on my Patreon. Link in the description box down below. Outside of that, again, I also mentioned in the last episode how, you know, if the scat is too much, I'm just going to go ahead and, you know, I'm gonna minimize the not minimize the censorship. I'm gonna like maximize the censorship for that, because my stomach doesn't handle that well out of all things. The other stuff that was mentioned that could happen in this game, it doesn't seem too bad, but yeah, scat could be another thing. So I'm really curious on, yeah, how intense that's going to be, but I guess we'll find out this episode how intense things are going to turn out to be. So without further ado, let's go and continue on some more room number 9. The man in the underwear shouted, "If you take any action to disrupt the study, you may be subject to a point penalty, and our meal rations you have earned may be withheld." Cold, mechanical text appeared on screen as the man slammed the kettle down over and over. Oh, yep. It was a line from the set of instructions earlier. The screen went black before the footage came up again. It was a shot of the same place, and the person slumped up against the wall was probably the same man from before. Who? Food and other supplies will not be replenished if the door to the exchange chamber is open or a subject is inside. The way the instructions continued to pop up made it seem almost as if the videos ignored the man's frail voice as he begged. Ooh. Several days must have passed between cuts. The man looked haggard and weak. Considering they do a lot of bara, yeah, he looks very unhealthy right now. The rule cannot be broken even if the subject's life is at risk. His voice is hoarse and weak. Man, what the hell is this? Uh-oh, the man stopped moving. For a smooth delivery, we request your cooperation in staying out of the exchange chamber and keep the door shut except when retrieving items. He's not dead, is he? That's not possible, right? Whoa, oh boy. The scene changed. For a moment I was relieved, since I'd been expecting to see a rotten corpse, but it quickly became obvious that there was nothing to be relieved about. A man wearing a wife beater who looked a few years older than us was straddling a man about high school age and strangling him. Oh my god. Oh my god. The man being strangled didn't resist. Or maybe he couldn't. His hands were behind his back. Were they bound? Whoa, holy shit. He's really gonna die. Were they just acting? Or was this some kind of special effect? I've never seen anyone's face change colors like that before. The man roared as he continued to strangle the throat of the limp man beneath him. The researchers will not interfere in conflict between participants. He kept squeezing tighter and tighter, almost like he was trying to snap the other man's neck. And then his voice abruptly stopped as the video cut off. We request your cooperation in this study. This is pretty extreme for a prank. I noticed the tension in the muscle of Seiji's neck and clapped him on the shoulder. Okay, no one would be going to this hotel if this was indeed like a surprise. You would think you would read reviews and be like, oh yeah, the surprise thing was pretty meh. 3 out of 5 stars. Like, no, what? No freaking way. No, this is obviously something that the government, I'm assuming the government's gonna be involved in this. I'm really intrigued by the story though, because it's obviously studying human psyche. And there's a lot of like bigger things to think about too, because it makes, for me at least, it makes me think like, man, you know, they probably, like the government probably does things like this. Maybe not like this, but they probably do it to like others. Like I know like there's always like you hear about things like using inmates for like testing or something like that. It's like, oh, very fucked up stuff, you know? Which we'll never hear about, because why would the government reveal that? Because they'd be in big trouble and such things like that. But I feel like though it could like be like a real life type of thing, a realistic type of scenario in a sense, which is why it's like even creepier. But at least for me, I think it's creepy in that sense, and makes it a horror type of visual novel. But also along with that, I'm curious to see how the relationship between these two is going to change, because they are best friends, but this is literally going to test their friendship at the very least. And again, we'll probably dive deeper into the demons between the two, like I mentioned last episode. But Seiji's expression didn't align one bit, and I could feel my stomach drop. I thought about it for a moment, but all I could do was shake my head. This was all way beyond some prank. His quiet words chilled my heart. Once the video ended, the TV and the tablet both displayed text again. The video didn't look fake. It really looked like that guy had died, but it couldn't be real. Seiji's attention shifted back to the tablet as I stood there trembling. He touched one of the items on the menu. Warning. The researchers conducting the study will provide all the materials and expertise they are able to preserve the life and health of the experiment subjects. However, do note that this is not out of concern for the subjects' lives or human rights. Further, we will not seek damages or compensation for any harm caused by subjects during the course of the study. We have no intention of interfering in the activities of the study subjects once that is concluded. It's a very shitty situation, obviously, because, like, again, it's like, you would think, like, you'd easily be like, no, like, we're not doing it, but then, like, again, they're not going to get food properly. This reminds me of a couple things. Obviously, it reminds me of, like, I know the first thing that comes to mind is Saw for a lot of people, because, yeah, this is, like, something you would see in a Jigsaw trap, except it's more for a human psych thing. It's like a combination of that, the movie The Platform, in terms of like the rationing and such, and how well you obey, I guess how well you obey in order to, like, to get food in a way, because the platform, no matter how much you obey, it doesn't freaking matter. It's kind of a dog-eat-dog world, you know? It reminds me of those two, and I forgot the third movie I was thinking of, but I guess in a way Cabin in the Woods, in the terms of the government being involved, but I mean, for a bigger thing. But why would they do this type of study is my question. I'm just really intrigued by this game, on if you couldn't tell already, just because, like, why would they use, like, bystanders? It's kind of strange. I mean, I know it's like especially in this scenario. I mean, who knows what the relationship between the other participants were. In this case, like, they're best friends, so like maybe it fits their description so well is that it was too hard not to pass, or maybe it's like so difficult to find like people who do that, so there's like, oh, this is why we have to force things. I don't know. Anyways, I'm sure more things are gonna come to mind. It was getting harder and harder to wrap my head around what was going on. Almost like a smooth piece of ice will slip away as you try to grasp it, leaving nothing but a sting of cold behind. I trailed off. Do these people have any concern for their subjects' human rights? Any at all? The hairs on my back of my neck were standing straight on end. Surprisingly so, because, you know, to be all gay, I would be surprised if any hair goes straight, but the whole situation felt increasingly unreal. Experimental procedure. Every day at midnight, you'll be presented with several tasks to choose from. Completing the selected task before the day ends, as my voice cracked, will earn you 3 rations for the following day, and 10 points. Tools and instructions required to complete the task will be provided. In situations in which the completion of the task may not be immediately clear, the researchers will make a determination visually via cameras installed throughout the suite. Should they determine that the conditions of the task have not been met, you will not earn any points. Should this happen, please attempt the task again that day. Upon completion of the selected task, you'll not earn additional points or completing other tasks that day. You may, however, change your task selection before completion of a given task. Please consult the current task section on the left for the details on specific task. Okay, so just to get it straight again, in case you don't remember, 100 points total. They have to do it in 14 days, or in this case 10 days. No, I think they have 2 weeks to do it. They get 3 rations a day, depending on if they finish the task. But they do get a freebie on the first day, if I remember correctly. They do get free rations, if you will, free. So some tasks will not be clear. So this is where I'm wondering. This actually reminds me of the Stanford prison experiment as well. It's like, because it seems like, at least based off like the high school kid and whoever the guy was that was choking the kid with, it could be totally one of those things where it's just like, again, like the Stanford prison experiment, where it's like there might be like someone might be in love with power, and that kind of also reminds me of Euphoria, because I forgot the character's name in Euphoria, the main character, the male character. But the whole thing with him is that, like, anytime he had like control, like, he turned into something. He wasn't himself, to say the least. Or I guess he was himself, but it was one of those things where it's like he turned into like a different persona, if you will, because he had the power. He felt the power when he was given it, because of the task that they were given. I wonder if it's gonna be like one of those things, which would make sense because it is an actual thing. Again, if you don't know the prison Stanford experiment, look it up. It's pretty fucked, but it's also very intriguing. I'm not gonna lie, but it's also very true, and it makes sense, and it's very, especially in the US at least, it is extremely relevant in that sense to what's happening nowadays. Anyways, though,
Daichi,
I'll stop talking. Thank you, Seiji. See, I appreciate that. He forced a slight smile. I felt like I was about to be overcome with fear, not knowing what might happen to us. But hearing Seiji say that gave me just enough, just barely enough, courage to keep myself together. One sec. The conclusion of the study. The study will conclude if the subject requests to end the study after collecting a requisite number of points, or in the event of a subject's death. After the study is over, your personal effects and any compensation the researchers deem applicable will be delivered to your desired point of return. You may designate your desired point of return in the settings selections in the menu on the left. The default point of return is home or near home. The same may only be changed to by each subject personally. Okay, so they're gonna knock you out again and put you elsewhere, or near your home. What? So after your personal effects and any compensation the researchers deem applicable will be deleted. Interesting. That is scary. I don't know. To me, that's just really creepy. To be honest, it's one of those things where it's like, if you lose a friend, in this case, if you lose a friend and it's like, what? How do they compensate you with that? You can't get what? I'm curious to see how that is. Hopefully we don't get that off the bat, because that would suck. First of all, I would hope I get the good ending. I believe there's only one good ending in this game, and I think there's a lot of bad ends, but I could be wrong. But I think that's how it is. If you guys played it, let me know in the comments down below. But maybe we shouldn't have looked at it. No, it's fine. We had no choice but to look at it. We'd be in deeper trouble if we didn't know about this. He was tense. The situation was getting to getting to the even calm Seiji. It looked like I had information on how to end the study, but in the event of a subject's death, the number of living subjects in the test chamber falls below 2 individuals, the study will end. Further, you may decide in advance the method by which your remains will be disposed in your event of the death. You may designate your desired disposal method in the settings section in the menu on the left. The default setting is interment on private land after cremation at this facility. The setting may only be changed by each subject personally. Point usage. You may utilize the points you earn to indulge in various enrichment items during the course of the experiment. You may consult the point usage details section on the left for additional information about required amounts and their usage. Similarly, the end of the trial may be adjusted in the point usage section, detail section. Ooh, okay, so now it makes sense why they give us 14 days. I'm about to say, like, if you could just go hardcore for the 10 days and just get it over with, but it looks like you could, because it seems like some of these things are going to be so intense that you might want to use those points for I don't know what. We're going to find out in a second. But in the event of a subject's death, disposal method. I remember what the man in the video had said. This will all be over if you just die. My voice came out strained. We had to figure out the easiest way out. Delivery of items. Delivery of any items needed for survival or the completion of the task, as well as items procured through the use of points, will occur in the exchange chamber. The exchange chamber is a roughly 5-foot square space on the other side of the door, located near the exit to the testing chamber. The exchange chamber locks and unlocks automatically. Subjects cannot unlock the exchange chamber manually. Further, new items cannot be supplied while the door is open or a subject is inside the chamber. For smooth delivery, we request your cooperation in staying out of the exchange chamber and keeping the door shut when retrieving items. Typically, clothing will be cleaned and returned within 24 hours of collection. The minimum amounts of calories required for survival will be provided for free. Please consult the point usage details section for additional information. So I guess that's how that first guy died, or that we saw in the video, the middle-aged guy. He put himself in the exchange chamber, and I guess it cost his life and also the person with them. I think there was a person with them, but the exchange chamber. I guess that's what the white room was for? Seiji ran his finger along each line of text. Ever since middle school, he had a habit of doing that when he was studying. I heard rumors that watching his long fingers run along the page drove all the girls crazy. Shit. I think I'm starting to daydreaming a little. I can practically see the two of us in the older school uniforms. What is wrong with me? At 0800, 1300, and 1900, meals will be provided according to a fixed menu. The exchange chamber will remain unlocked for 3 hours after delivery of meals. Once you have finished eating, please return your utensils to the chamber while it remains open. Any untouched food will be recovered at the end of the 3 hours as well. If you would like your meal but do not wish to eat it within 3 hours of its delivery, please take the meal and keep it inside the test chamber. Please make use of the laundry bin for clothing that requires laundering and the waste bin for disposal of unwanted items. You may use points to change meal times or request off-menu meals. It is determined that a subject is over-consuming freely provided food items. Points may be deducted in compensation. Ooh, okay. Wait, what is over-consuming freely provided food items? How does that work? You're given a certain amount of food, but how overconsume freely provide? You're telling me you can't clean your plate? Is that what I'm getting here? Well, anyways, Though the flip side of that is that if we don't play along, we're dead.
俺たちを不潔な状態で放っておくつもりもないらしい。
まあなんだ、どんな実験かわからないけど、なんつうか、なんていうかさ。
Daichi, he's really trying hard to think about on the bright side. That's not really much consolation. Seiji deftly manipulated the tablet with the long fingers.
こういうのって本当にあるんだな。
Violations and penalties. Deliberately damaging furniture and equipment, lingering excessively in the exchange chamber, attempts to escape the test chamber, and other activities that would disrupt the study may result in reduction of points or withholding of food earned through the completion of tasks without prior notice. Availability of data to other test chambers. There are other teams at this institution conducting different studies. You may also earn points by voluntarily publicizing your data from your test chamber to other chambers. You may only view data from other test chambers if both this chamber and the other chamber's privacy settings are set to public. Once you set data to public, you may not return it to the private status. You may view other chambers' data and make changes to your privacy settings under the data review section available in the menu to the left. So I'm wondering, like, what's the penalty? I mean, there obviously is no, like, penalty if you set it to private or keep it private, but or putting it in public. In fact, it just seems like one of those things where it's like you might as well put it public because, I mean, let's be real, like this is a life or death scenario. Like, who kind of cares unless it's like a big time event? I don't know. This is interesting. Now, I mean, it's always been interesting. It's just like I'm curious about this. This is definitely going to be used, I think, at some point during this experiment. It was almost funny in a strange way. Like, it just didn't feel real, like an out-of-body experience or something. None of it made sense. My brain might as well have been replaced with the cotton stuffing, but it was real. And my desire to laugh was probably just an attempt to distance myself from reality. It's like, you know, when you watch a movie or read a comic and something breaks your suspension of disbelief and you're just like, yeah, right, that would never happen, right? If you were tossed into one of those worlds and told, okay, you're the protagonist now, I'm pretty sure you'd just be at a total loss too. That's why isekai is so popular. But because yeah, it is. I think of yeah, obviously Subaru, even, well, Kazuma didn't think that. He was all happy. He's like, oh, I got alcohol on my side, and then he's like, oh shit, I have alcohol on my side. From this high to this low that quickly. But anyways, Seiji didn't say a word, but I could tell that behind his intent expression, his mind was spinning at immense speed. A flash of white caught my attention, and I looked up before squinting on the words.
Seiji, miro terebi.
He shifted his gaze to the TV screen. The TV is displaying some kind of diagram thing. Ooh, okay. So we could make our names and such public, which gives us 3 points. That just seems worth it. I mean, what's wrong with like sharing our data? Actually, I mean, there's a lot of things that are kind of fucked about that. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, I mean, it's a relevant thing now. It's like, do you want your data shared? Because that's kind of what it is. We're sharing our data with like private companies. This is weird. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9 rooms there's 9 rooms that are occupied. 2 are not occupied, and 1 made their room public from what it looks like. So we get 1 point for just saying that there's 2 people in the room. I think that's worth it. Length of stay, we can make that public too. I mean, again, those are easy 2 points. And then ooh, I didn't even think of that. Okay, this is where things might get interesting. I wonder, are all these rooms like close to each other? And oh, I didn't even think of that. What if one of the challenges is like go into other rooms and like wreck them, I guess, or something, you know? Does that make any sense to you guys? Oh, I say we're room number 9, duh. So actually, never mind. We're the only one that's not, we can only see our own, but everyone else is on private. Okay. But I wonder if there's going to be like a challenge where we have to go into another room or something and like possibly like commit murder. Ooh, okay. This, now I understand why this could, there's a consequence of showing these. God, this is like Danganronpa in a way too. Okay, anyways. What? There are other rooms like this one? 12 rooms, and ours was room number 9. Roll credits. Ding! But what are these entries? This data? Wait, points? I can see the two of us in the feed next to rune number 9's entry. I tried to wave my hand over my head, but all I saw on the screen was me looking in the wrong direction with a slightly tense look on my face. Alright, so the camera's not pointed this way. It looks like it's aimed at the bed. I guess that means they're always watching us. Really drives the study thing home. There were buttons with the words made public on them at the top of the screen too. I didn't know what I was feeling exactly, but whatever it was well past anger or anything like that. Only if it was that easy. If that was all we needed to get out of here, I'd put my whole heart into it. I really would, but there is no way we're gonna get off that easy. Everything we've seen so far is practically screaming that. Seiji touched the tablet again. There were 2 checkboxes with choices lined up to each. Oh, okay. Task 1. Subject B must draw 600 I don't know, what is that? I don't know, millimeters of blood from subject A. Subject A must extract milk from subject B. I truly don't have any words. Hold on. What does extract exactly mean? I feel like I should like make my choice here with you guys and just give an idea of what I would possibly do. I don't know. It's easy to say, but hard to do. Okay, so there is force involved. Oh boy. I don't know. So how much is 600 milliliters? I'm assuming that's milliliters. What's MLS? This is, oh boy. Oh boy. So it's, yeah, it is milliliters. I was making sure. So how much is, hold up, 600. That's 20 fluid ounces, but how much is that, like, I don't know, in a gallon? So that's like less, that's like 0.15. I don't know if that's like a lot or not. How much, okay, how much blood in MLS? Okay, the average adult weighing 150 to 180 pounds should have about 1.2 to 1.5 gallons of blood in their body. This is about 4,500, 5,700 milliliters. Okay, so 600 doesn't seem too bad in that sense. Okay, so I'm gonna look up health. I'm gonna do this with you guys, by the way. This is really interesting. So mild side effects, 15 to 30%. So let's just say I don't have my phone on me. I'm charging it. Damn it. I mean, okay, so it's like 4,500. Okay, so I guess 15%. It would be like. So you would get side effects, at least dizziness or lightheaded. So. Nausea, or okay, so it seems like okay. I feel like this one's for me. It'd be easy just because I am a bigger person, so I would have more blood. So 600 milliliters would be nothing unless oh, but that's the thing. I'm not sure if I'm subject B or A. If my friend is like smaller, then like yeah, that would kind of suck, and I'm the one who has to draw. But that's the same thing too. I didn't even think of that. It's like I'm not a professional at that. Like, how is there like a way to like draw blood like safely? Because I could do it wrong and like cause all sorts of shit by accident, you know. Then obviously that's just I wouldn't want to go there. I have no words exactly. I would probably choose task 1 because I feel like that's the least like damaging. Like, it's physically damaging, yes, but it's also like the least emotional, at least for me. The second one would break me, I think. I mean, it wouldn't break me completely, but it would be like, oh. Especially because, yeah, subject A has to extract. And anyways. All I could manage was a couple of dumbstruck words. That's an understatement.
男二人でこんなんさしてどうすんだよ。
Seiji had a grim look on his face too. We can't do anything but stand there in utter shock. I didn't want to give him blood or semen, god damn it!
どうする?
My voice sounded pretty meek.
何時だ今?
I looked at my phone. The clock on the lock screen was quietly ticking away the seconds.
16時47分.
こっちもだ.
Which meant that our clocks had been tampered with, and it had been about 6 hours since we arrived in Okinawa. Had we really been out for that long? Seiji rubbed his temples.
少し考えよう.
それがいいと思う.
We had time to think, at least, since it sounded like those tasteless tasks just needed to be complete within the day. Assuming we were going to do them, that is. If they were supposed to be a joke, they're not funny.
もうすぐ飯だろうし、腹減ってないけど。
こんな状況だしな.
Ugh, you could cut the tension in here with a knife. Seiji seemed to be feeling the same way and closed the task screen.
荷物の確認しとくか.
He crouched down next to his round hiking backpack. While I bought a new backpack just for the trip, Seiji had brought one he had for a while. It looked pretty expensive too. I imagine the difference in comfort and durability between our bags was pretty significant. Thinking about trivial things like that made me feel a little better somehow. The contents of the bags are pretty neatly organized. I just crammed things into mine pretty thoughtlessly, but Seiji had his things sorted into little bags by category, like underwear or sunscreen. That's Seiji for you.
じゃあ、俺は部屋の探検でもしてくっかな.
He just lifted his hand without looking at me. The gesture felt as casual and laid back as usual. Yeah. Let's just act like everything's normal. The bathroom was almost too clean. The walls weren't the usual, like plastic you see in a unit bath, but stone. It looked like marble. It seemed like a pretty nice room, like a step above everything I'd ever booked. There were bottles of shampoo, conditioner, and body wash in the shower, combs and razors on the massive counter. All sorts of other stuff. The packaging all looked well designed and expensive. Not like a dollar store looking stuff you might find in a business hotel or love hotel. I wasn't convinced any of the improvements were worth the catch though. I'm cool with normal. Give me my dollar store soap and let us get out of here. The closet next to the bed was pretty big. It had hangers, basic shoe shine kit, bathrobes, and even a trouser press and knit. What's the point of getting that sort of thing if you're locking us in here? Does this mean you're going to make us play dress up or something? There's a laundry hamper and even extra towels and sheets, not to mention the extra blankets and pillows. And then there was that area Seiji must have been fiddling with earlier, the exchange chamber, the one from the video. I thought I heard something. I'm not sure if it was the game or I heard something out there, but I tried opening the door, but it didn't even budge. It just coldly displayed the phrase "currently locked."
やめろよな、こういう。
I know, right?
沖縄を楽しませてくれよ。
I want to experience the real ocean, not a video of it. If there was some kind of escape room game, there would probably be hints hidden in the room, but whoever put this room together didn't seem like a careless type. Even after we'd gone after every inch of the place with a fine-tooth comb, there was nothing even resembling a
湯
clue.
沸かし器もあるし、充電できるし。ほんと、設備自体はホテルなんだよな。
それでも缶詰は嫌だ.
Yeah. Seiji's words were a mumble as he found out an outlet and plugged in his phone. We'd come to a tactic understanding that we try not to think or talk about the study. It felt like we could stave off terror and the like that way. Like shoving something back into the deep recesses of your mind so you can forget it even exists.
あ、コーラ発見。多分無料だこれ。
There was a variety of different drinks in the refrigerator, including bottled water. There are several mini bottles of alcohol in the mini bar corner. Okay, so first off, especially if we're going to actually do task A. Oh, God. See, okay. It's hard because, like, obviously, I'm not in this scenario. But since I'm not in this scenario, it's easy kind of to think, like, outside the box or think ahead. So if we're going with task A, I would keep the water, make sure, you know, like we have water for afterwards for the person who, you know, gets blood taken out of them. But if we choose task B, it's like I would start drinking some tasty stuff. I don't know exactly what would be considered like the tasty stuff to make, you know, the extract easier to get out of, if that makes any sense. You know what, the milk. Anyways, that's just like big brain play 101 right there, but I'm not sure if that's worth it. But there are a variety of different drinks in the refrigerator. Oh yeah.
有料でたまるか.
一本飲む?
水は?
ある。ミニボトルあるからウイスキーコーク作れるな。
Might as well enjoy yourselves while we're at it. Just as we were finally getting our minds off the situation, I could hear someone shout from afar in the distance. The wall shook. Someone in the neighbor room must have hit it with all their might. I could hear the sound of something breaking reverberate through the wall and froze just as I was about to twist off the top of the bottle. My heart was practically pounding out of my chest. I glanced over at Seiji. He was looking at me without saying a word. There was a woman screaming too. Whatever she was going on over, it sounded pretty violent. The sound seemed distant, but heavy enough that I could finally feel the vibration. A chime came from the direction of TV, like the jingle you hear before breaking news broadcasts. Then the screen changed. A red exclamation mark appeared by room number 10. Warning. Penalties will be leveled against participants who damage the facilities. They must have destroyed a window or something. And that meant the people who locked us in here would be responding, would be able to sense our movements or hear footsteps running down the hall or something. The vibrations of someone hurling a large object against a wall or door continued for a while, but then came to a sudden stop. So did the screams. Everything stopped. Only the sound of the electronic chime remained. Why did everything stop? And how? I was unsettled by how the room next door had gone silent, almost as if it had been suddenly emptied. I waited with bated breath as the TV started to display a message. Escape from the testing chamber is effectively impossible. Please focus your efforts on the study. The silent on-screen text read. A heavy atmosphere filled the room along with it. I couldn't even crack a joke. The incident had shattered what little sense of normalcy we managed to regain. No matter what situation you're in, you still get hungry. You need calories whether you're facing reality or running from it. I futzed around with the minibar on top of the refrigerator. I did have the bottle of tea I brought from the airport, but if we really were locked up in here, if we really were going to have to stay here for the extended period of time, we need to get used to the idea of eating the food they gave us. My stomach churned at the thought. After a moment, Seiji nodded. He was probably thinking the same thing. It looked pretty expensive too. Like the toiletries, the stylish design had fancy English lettering on it. The water was nearly boiling already. There was something just so strange about the normalcy of the hotel room, aside from the fact that we're locked inside it. Oh, it was the same kind of electric kettle the old man had in the video. Maybe let's not go there. In the end, I chose green tea, filling a little teapot with the delicate leaves as the water came off the boil and cooled enough for me to add to it. I carefully placed 2 teacups and some sweets on the tray, carrying it over to the table by the window. I sat down and took a sip. The hot tea felt refreshing in my mouth and the flavor seemed to permeate my entire body. There was something comforting about it. I wonder how long I should wait between sips to check if it's poison though. Maybe I should ask Seiji not to drink or eat anything for a little bit, but there's no point. If they wanted to kill us, we'd be dead already, right? Though I guess it could be some kind of non-lethal poison too, like, you know, something you might see in a movie. Punishment for the idiot who carelessly stuffed his face with food and drink of an unknown origin. Actually, if I end up dead first, I guess I'll have to let Seiji go. I guess there's no guarantee they'll actually do it though. Seiji sat down across from me and picked up one of the confections. Despite the circumstances, he wasn't about to forget his manners. Well, I guess the people who made those snacks didn't do anything wrong. The purple yam tarts are such quintessentially Oscan desserts. They'll probably even sell them at the airport. Their presence in the room was another almost unsettlingly normal hotel move. It all just made everything feel inferiorly calculated. Seiji didn't hesitate to take a bite of one of the tarts or to drink the tea, which served to confirm my take on the situation. I picked up one of the individually wrapped confections myself and took a bite. Yeah, it's good. And there's just something about sweets that make your next sip of hot tea that just more delicious. I closed my mouth and held my breath for a moment to listen carefully. There weren't any noticeable sounds, no cell service either. I was sure the Wi-Fi was just an internal network as well. I mean, maybe Okinawa is just that far out in the middle of nowhere, but if we were above ground, we should be able to hear the oceans or cicadas or something, right? Mine was a total disaster to begin with, so I had no way of knowing.
それ覚えてんのもある意味すごくね。
でも荷物は多分全部。
Oh, that's
アー
scary.
ミーナイフも残ってた。
Upon hearing the words pocket knife, my first thought was something pretty intense, but I guess he was probably talking about one of those ones with all the little tools and stuff on it.
そんなん持ってきてたの？
Seiji nodded.
10日もあるし、どこかでジャングルツアーでも行くかと思ってた。
Very calculated, as if Seiji would. You never know it from his face, but I guess he really was looking forward to it, huh?
そりゃ残念ね。インドアの極みになっちゃって。
日焼け止めも無駄になったな。
帽子もせっかく買ったのにな。
Just a week ago, the two of us had gone to a big sporting goods store to buy a bunch of stuff for the trip. Seiji had even helped me pick out my backpack. I budgeted about 5,000 yen for it, but since I probably wasn't going on any other vacations anytime soon, I ended up grabbing the cheap, collapsible bag that I could use every day. That said, I made sure to pick one that wouldn't look too shabby to Seiji. I was pretty happy with my choice. Shopping for everything had been a lot of fun. We've been so excited for the trip. I wish we could go back to that. I mean, I know people say the fun part of travel is the lead up to the trip, but I'm pretty sure this isn't why.
てかこれさ、実験とかそういうの全部嘘じゃないかな。
I just said the first thing that came to my mind. I couldn't but wonder if that video and all that shouting was just some kind of big put on. Hadn't there been a movie like this once? But Seiji shook his head.
何のために？
怨恨？俺たちをビビらせるとか、なんか身代金目的とか。
Yeah, do we know anyone that's rich enough to hold something like this?
こんなクソ回りくどいやり方しないだろ。
金かかってんもんな。
I could kind of buy it if it was just a single regular hotel room or like some kind of cabin in the middle of nowhere. But even if everything we experienced so far in that video were all somehow fabrications, this room alone still would have been ludicrously expensive. We were probably underground, the walls were thick. On top of all that, there were the furnishings, the massive bed, the LCD panels, and the TV. The room had a bathroom and shower too, which meant it had water and sewage connections, a water heater. The fittings were expensive looking as well. How many years of my soon-to-be sour would it take to build a room like this?
そんな覚えあるか？
I shook my head.
全然。女の子には恨まれてないと思うし、男にはもっと恨まれてないし、金ないし、家族もいないし。
All my breakers are pretty amicable, and I've never picked fights with other guys, and like I said, I don't have any family. Though I guess I could have unknowingly slept with a girl who had a boyfriend or something. But I'm pretty sure if it was something like that, the guy would probably jump me in the street, not resort to kidnapping. At the very least, I can't think of anyone I could have pissed off enough who had enough money to pull this off.
俺も恨みを買うような言動はしてないと思う。どこかで買ってるかもしれないけど。
親父さんは？
I hated going there, but his dad was the richest, most connected person I could think of.
俺の親父？まさかただの官僚だし。こんなに金をかけて脅して旨味のある立場じゃない。
And not only us, but multiple other people too. Seiji's dad was a bureaucrat and seemed to be pretty high up in the ranks. I never really asked about the specifics, but I knew it was one of the reasons why people treated Seiji differently. Though I guess even though I described his family as rich, it wasn't as if they were multimillionaires or lived in some giant mansion or something.
まさか国家的な陰謀に巻き込まれて、それで何か条件を引き出すためにさらわれたとか。
スパイものの映画じゃないって。官僚もただの役人だぞ。
Good point.
じゃあこれ、常にこういうことしてる超悪いやつがいて、趣味でさらったってことなのかな。
Put it like that, it sounds ludicrous and unrealistic, but at least it has a surreal logic to it. It was pretty much the only explanation that made any sense by that point. Seiji sipped his tea again instead of responding. I did the same. We might have been in the middle of a crisis, but that didn't stop my body getting thirsty.
飲んどけ。何をされたかわからないけど、薬物を分解するのに水分を取った方がいい。
I happened to glance down my feet. The carpet looked somewhat worn, and I wondered if other people had been in the room. All the possibilities running through my mind sent chills down my spine. Talk about terrifying.
家に連絡するつもりだったんだけどな。
そうだよね。
Seiji looked a little guilty. It wasn't like it bothered me when he mentioned them, though. He should have known that. I don't have any parents or siblings. Well, at least not anyone I could introduce to someone as my mom or dad. Who knows where the hell they are? The only worthwhile thing my parents ever gave me was my good health. I owe the person I'd grown to be to the people running the orphanage, my teachers, and, of course, my best friend.
大地お前
俺何急に
半額出すとき正直驚いた。バイト代貯めるの時間かかったろ。
ああまあ試験っぽいのとかやった。
His beautiful eyes went in a wide shock.
危ないだろ。
I think there was some character named Hato who did something similar in a certain series I did, which is not available on YouTube because, you know, my other channel does not exist.
ニキビのだし楽に金になったし肌も綺麗になったし助かったわ。今のもほら知見みたいなもんだと思えばさ。
Yeah. Seiji leaned back and sank deep into the seat before letting out a sigh. I marvel that he could look so cool even in a situation like this.
真に受けてやるのがいいんだろうな。知見の一種だと思って。珍しい経験だ。
Very unusual and also extremely unorthodox to say the least. And not only that, but it's like, yeah, I wish, you know, I would much rather be in the Takemi trials, just saying. But this rich kid, who probably never had to resort to any clinical trials for money, flashed me his best smile, and that's when it hit me. And it looks like we'll stop it here, as we played a lot this episode, but I feel like we had to, since, you know, we're just going over the rules for the most part. And let me know what you guys would say. We take task A or task B. Let me know in the comment box down below. And outside of that, awesome ones, I did hope you enjoyed room number 9. If you did enjoy, please leave a like and share the video down below if you haven't already. And don't forget to come awesome one day, and I'll see you awesome later with another episode of First Degree. As I think we're just gonna get the good routes. I'm gonna look up cheat sheet if there is one possible of how to get the best route for each. Well, yeah, try to get the best route, because I think there's only one good end to get like the good CG, so I think it'd be best to do that. And I'm not sure if there's like bad ends, but we'll do that, and then we'll come back to room number 9. And of course, we might stream tonight, but most likely tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. Twitch and the link in the description box down below. Other than that, thank you all for watching. I'll see you later. Okay, love ya, and don't forget to stay awesome.